I think we can all agree that 2023 was one of the biggest years for gaming. Moving on to 2024, the turn-based community is being served with a long line of awesome turn-based RPGs from both big and small studios, getting new installments from beloved franchises, promising indie projects, long overdue remasters of RPG classics, as well as a massively anticipated remake. Hi, this is Leaf, and today on Turn-Based Lovers, the most anticipated turn-based RPGs of 2024.
Like a Dragon is going.
The Yakuza franchise have been known to be one of the best street roller games of the past 2 decades. Recently, the franchise have been making some changes to the mainline series as well as releasing various spin-offs. One of these changes being the complete rebranding of the franchise's name to Like a Dragon, a more faithful adaptation of its Japanese title. With a new name and a new main character, the franchise also backs away from the beat-em-up game design that fans have known the series for in favor of a turn-based RPG formula. Despite the drastic leap to the gameplay, the change have been generally well received by new and veteran fans alike. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is a turn-based tactical RPG similar to its precursor, Yakuza Like a Dragon. The game follows the story of Kasuga Ichiban as the series takes players to the islands of Hawaii, featuring spectacular over-the-top turn-based combat, dozens of characters to meet and befriend, diverse set of minigames, and so much more. By bringing in both main characters, old and new, the game seeks to both conclude a long-standing story as well as usher in a new age for the series.
Kazuma Kiryu is back and ready to run.
Despite remasters for Suikoden 1 and 2 being just right around the corner, fans of the classic are still hopeful and excited for this spiritual successor. After a massive Kickstarter campaign being the most funded Kickstarter game of 2022, Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes is finally set to release this April of 2024. The game is a far cry from the previous game Eiyuden Chronicle Rising, which was a side-scrolling action RPG. This time, 100 Heroes is setting out to be a fully fledged classic JRPG sporting a variant of the HD 2D aesthetic. The biggest highlight of the game is the 100 recruitable heroes for your party. If you're a fan of the Shin Megami Tensei Persona series, then Persona 3 Reload will be the highlight of your year. Despite releasing all the way back in 2006, Persona 3 still has a loyal community of fans that's been keeping the game alive through mods, with the biggest project to date being the HD overall project for Persona 3 Fest. Over the years, fans have argued about Persona 3's definitive edition, with fans still conflicted on which platform has the best version of Fest, as well as a few loyal fans of Persona 3 Portable. This year, the Rift will hopefully be put to rest with a full remake of the beloved Persona 3, featuring entirely remade and modern visuals in line with Persona 5 but still keeping the art direction and the overall visual style of Persona 3 that fans fell in love with. Aside from that, the game also introduces a ton of new content, from new music, additional scenes, new social link quests, new personas, and so much more.
Your great passion, how appropriate, for it makes you blind to our ascension.
From the studio that brought you the Dungeon of Naheulbeuk comes a gritty world of swords and ruin. While Naheulbeuk presents players with a quirky cast and comedic themes, Crown Wars The Black Prince offers a darker take on turn-based tactical strategy. In Crown Wars, players are given their own fiefdom, which you'll nurture and develop into a thriving metropolis or die trying. Recruit a number of unique heroes and heroines to thwart any threat to your fief and ultimately unveil the evil that lurks within the shadows of the lands.
You may be many things, but we have hope.
Developer Sunborn, also known as Mika Team, is mostly well known as the people behind the game Girls Frontline, a massively successful gacha game that released globally all the way back in 2018. But before that, Mika Team first worked on a kinetic visual novel titled Girl of the Bakehouse, which eventually transformed into 2013's codename Bakery Girl, the predecessor as well as the sequel to Girls Frontline. 11 years later, Reverse Collapse Codename Bakery, a remake to the original Codename Bakery Girl, is expected to release around this year 2024. The game is an overall reimagining of the original with updated gameplay, graphics, and a storyline set 30 years after Girl's front line, featuring classic strategic gameplay, over 60 different levels, and all new dynamic illustrations and 2D animations. While Codename Bakery Girl didn't really get worldwide attention, Reverse Collapse Codename Bakery aims to finally revitalize the original and release on the global market. Making a CRPG is surely a challenging task, but also an amazing achievement, especially for a small indie studio. Zoria Age of the Shattering presents indie lovers with another alternative to the recently popular CRPG genre. In Zoria, you'll be exploring an enchanted world filled with mysteries and wonderful vistas before taking the plunge into dynamic turn-based combat that even lets you harness your surroundings to your advantage. Aside from that is an added layer of depth where players need to consistently monitor their party's vitals and equipment, as well as a base management system tied to player progression. Although not being in the same quality as the CRPG juggernauts of the previous year, Zoria Age of the Shattering remains as a promising indie alternative that's yet to be discovered. It has been over 40 years since the 80s, and some gamers around the world are still looking for that lick of retro classic. SKALD Against the Black Priory seems to just cater to that demographic. The game sports a retro aesthetic that may fool you into thinking that the game was actually from the MS-DOS era, but being for the current era of gaming, the game blends in modern game design philosophies with the charm of authentic 8-bit graphics. This party-based RPG may just be the game that'll scratch your retro itch for this year. While the Persona series remains fully alive and well in 2024, this doesn't stop other fans from taking inspiration in the series and giving their own spin to it, and Demonschool is one such project. The game features a very unique style of turn-based tactics wherein moves or actions are set beforehand before automatically being played out on the field. In Demonschool, movement and positioning is the name of the game. Outside of combat, you'll be exploring a rich university setting. Here you'll meet a diverse cast of characters that you can befriend as you follow the story unfold. You'll be doing all of these while also balancing your class schedule. Despite being inspired by another game, Demonschool still retains a lot of its uniqueness to help it stand out from the crowd of RPGs. I don't think people realize that the first Suikoden game released over 2 decades ago, all the way back in 1995. And with the massive success of Suikoden 2, which is still considered as an absolute masterpiece by fans around the world, the series spawned a few more games during the 2000s' PS2 era. However, the 2010s was a rather bleak decade for Konami's video game division as the company decided to focus on other prospects. While the last Suikoden game released all the way back in 2012, the series was still able to retain such a loyal fanbase. Because of this, the demand for more Suikoden never really died off. And about 10 years later, Konami finally decided that they're done messing around with pachinko machines and finally make a comeback to the video gaming scene. And in an era of remakes and remasters, Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster is simply a stepping stone for Konami to recover their video game glory. And what better way to revive a franchise than bringing the game that started it all, as well as the series' masterpiece, to the modern era. The remaster features HD upgrades to all background illustrations, updated visual effects that breathe new life to the game's pixel art animations, all new environmental and battle sound effects, an autosave system, battle fast forwarding, and a conversation log. While getting original copies of either game are still notoriously expensive even to this day, this upcoming remaster allows fans of the series as well as curious gamers to finally experience these classics in all its glory. Gamers around the world may occasionally have that itch for zombie games. Turn-based gamers are no exception, so it's such a delight when a game that mixes your favorite genre with that seasonal itch for zombie smashing action gets announced. Urban Strife is a zombie survival game that lets you experience a zombified world in a tactical turn-based manner. Sure, there are a few games out there that already attempted a tactical turn-based take on zombie survival, but not as well thought as this one seems to be. In Urban Strife, players will encounter a unique blend of turn-based strategy, post-apocalyptic survival mechanics, as well as a thrilling RPG storyline. Taking inspiration from titles such as Jagged Alliance 2 and XCOM, the game offers a ton of unique mechanics that perfectly fits the zombie survival experience. To give some examples, the game features some base building and management mechanics, a must-have for zombie survival games nowadays. Fire that spreads, simulated bullet ballistics, advanced sound propagation, and last but not the least, living, breathing NPCs that live their own independent lives, each with their own morals and motivations. If all of that doesn't intrigue a turn-based tactical gamer that's itching for a zombie game, then I don't know what will.
Anyone there? Calling all frequencies. Is anyone there?
ユニコーンオーバーロード指揮官の手引き探索の心得編
Vanillaware is a game company that's often overlooked in the West when it comes to their JRPGs. JRPG gamers may not be familiar with the company, but will surely recognize the absolute bangers that they have created. Masterpieces such as Odin Sphere and Grim Grimoire are two examples of Vanillaware's handiworks. So whenever a game company with a pedigree such as this announces a new IP, it's quite hard not to get excited. Unicorn Overlord aims to revitalize fantasy tactical RPGs by combining the timeless tactical RPG genre with Vanillaware's iconic style. Featuring over 60 unique characters from humans and elves to massive beasts and heavenly angels, the game lets you cultivate a massive army made up of multiple parties. With them, you'll be charging through a dynamic battlefield that moves in real time and engage in automatic turn-based battles filled with spectacular battle animations. And of course, an RPG will never be complete without an engaging storyline. Unicorn Overlord follows the story of a prince of a fallen kingdom who raises the banner of rebellion to lead his people to freedom.
周囲の敵が少なくなれば探索も行いやすくなりそうだ
Welcome to Newark, a place where all your dreams will come true.
Leaving behind Baldur's Gate 3 in 2023, it's time to look forward to this year's new lineup of CRPGs. But the question remains for CRPG fans if newer CRPGs will even hold a candle to Lorien's recent masterpiece. We don't really know the answer to that yet, but what we do know is that some of these CRPGs look absolutely amazing. Newark Line by Dream8 is one of these gorgeous upcoming CRPGs that we just can't wait to get our hands on. The game takes players for a ride in a spectacular fantasy adventure in a steampunk world filled with magic and mythical creatures. Although the game's world is aesthetically brimming with wonders, darker truths lurk in every shadow. In Newark Line, you'll be playing as your ill-stricken family's last beacon of hope in curing their fatal disease called Newark. You arrive in a prosperous foreign land only to discover that the place's regal appearance is only a facade for corruption, segregation, and inequality. Create a unique character from a selection of different backgrounds and races, recruit a diverse cast of characters, master the art of sorcery or technology, and most importantly, witness the consequences of your actions in a living, breathing world.
This world was built on lies. I will show you its true face.
Another way. This is a fantasy.
The Persona franchise have been a long-standing series for over 2 decades now, and while loyal fans will probably enjoy each and every entry after 5, coming up with a game that wants up a masterpiece is a very, very challenging endeavor. Because of this, it is understandable and is prime time for Atlus to explore new avenues and experiment as a preparation for the inevitability of Persona 6. With that comes a brand new IP from the creators of Persona 3, 4, and 5 themselves, Metaphor Refantazio. The game is set in an all-new fantasy world of swords and magic, a departure to the modern Japan setting of the Persona series. This time, the story unfolds in the United Kingdom of Uchronia, where the assassination of its king throws the kingdom into a state of unrest and chaos. Metaphor Refantazio follows the story of the protagonist as they set out to find a cure for the prince that's long thought to be dead. In your journey, you'll be encountering friends and enemies of all shapes and sizes as you venture forth through the lands. Metaphor Refantazio features intricate party customizations that offers a high degree of freedom freedom and strategy. Aside from that, the game also features an evolved version of the day-to-day activities of the Persona series. Lastly, Metaphor Refantazio features an interesting blend of high-octane action combat sprinkled with turn-based mechanics. It's still unclear how this combat system will play out and how turn-based the game will exactly be, but setting all that aside, I'm just excited for yet another high-quality JRPG that I simply can't wait to get my hands on. Bloomtown is a cozy JRPG set in a 1960s Americana world, but aside from the peaceful suburbs and quaint townscapes, a hidden darkness lurks beneath the shadows. It doesn't take long for our protagonist Emily and her younger brother Chester to sniff out that something is horribly wrong. Children are disappearing and nightmares are making their way into the real world. It is up to Emily and her friends to solve the mysteries and save the town from its gloomy fate. The game features a vibrant, eye-catching art style, an engaging story, classic turn-based battles, creature collecting mechanics, and a dynamic world that keeps the time ticking. Explore the world, get stronger with training, earn money by working, meet new friends, do some gardening, or save the world on your free time. What you do on your adventure is entirely up to you. After the initial success of Dark Deity back in 2021, it's easy to see why developers from Sword and Axe LLC are back at it again for round 2. Building upon an already successful game may sound like a no-brainer, but sequels are always a double-edged sword. You either create something that enhances the original and expands the franchise, or fail to build upon the original, which can end up killing the franchise entirely. But with what we've seen so far, Dark Deity II seems to be in good hands. Expanding upon the original, Dark Deity II picks up where the first game left off. A quarter of a century has passed and the Eternal Order is being put to the test as Veroa's neighboring kingdom, the Holy Asperolan Empire, seeks to expand their land in a not-so-friendly manner. Take command of the Eternal Delegation led by Irving's descendants as they navigate the treacherous politics of Veroa. Featuring 20 heroes with 45 branching classes, each with their own powerful abilities and passives that lets you expand your playstyle with equipment that can drastically change how a hero performs in battle. Engage in classic turn-based tactical battles that lets you outsmart overwhelming odds with sheer tactical wits, and a giant pool of customizations that allows for unique playthroughs. Aside from that is a roguelike inspired game mode called Twisted Destinies that lets you play a shortened version of the campaign featuring a randomized team on every playthrough.
刑事訓練用の仮想空間現実がコピーされた世界すごいここ本当に仮想空間なの
Level 5 has been one of the most well-known Japanese game companies over the years, helming massive franchises such as Yokai Watch and Inazuma 11. Despite their IPs usually catering to more younger audiences, the quality of their games such as Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom, are held at such a high regard by fans of all ages all around the world. That said, combining their JRPG expertise with their sleuthy affinity for mysteries in Professor Layton comes a brand new game that mixes the best of both worlds. Decapolice is a brand new upcoming crime-solving JRPG. Beneath the glamorous facade of the city of Broadstone lies an underworld metropolis where crime runs rampant. With the safety of the people at stake, in comes a new wave of detectives assisted by a revolutionary piece of technology called the Decasid, a full recreation of the city that can be used to unravel clues from dormant crimes. As the rookie Harvard marks, you'll be unraveling the criminal mysteries of the city in a mystery-filled detective adventure.
一匹残らず排除する
If you've never heard of the developer Landshark Games, well that's because they've been primarily making casual mobile games like their Zenkoi series. Now they're finally setting their sights to a new avenue of gaming, specifically the turn-based RPG scene. Grifford Academy is a coming-of-age interactive RPG about 3 high schoolers diving into a foreign world of a mysterious magical book to look for their missing friends. Little did they know that their journey won't only uncover the mysteries of this world, but also the mysteries of themselves. The game features a compelling coming-of-age story, an RPG created with accessibility in mind, meaning anyone can enjoy the game, a family-friendly experience, and dynamic soundtracks. By working on extensive projects from world-class companies, the people from Octero Studios earn highly valuable experiences in terms of game development. When they're not working on said projects or commissioned ones, they further hone their skills in-house. This latest project of theirs has a very unique take on JRPG combat. Sky Ocean's Wings for Hire lets you take to the skies in an homage to JRPG classics. You play the role of Glenn Windwalker as you assemble your team of sky pirates to fight against an enemy only known as the Alliance. Fight your battles in strategic turn-based dogfights, a format that hasn't really been touched upon by other turn-based RPGs. But most importantly, freely explore a world with Studio Ghibli-inspired visuals as you venture forth an unforgettable journey. After the success of their first game, Battle Brothers, comes the next chapter for developer Overhype Studios. While their first game did surprisingly well, instead of building upon it with a sequel, they chose to take an entirely different direction instead. This time, departing from Battle Brothers' board game aesthetics and diving headfirst into a more realistic set of visuals. MENACE is a tactical turn-based RPG similar in vein to games the likes of XCOM, but in a much larger scale. The game takes players in an isolated system in space where communications have been cut off and you are the top of the chain of command. As the sole commander, you'll be answering distress calls from different sectors. However, you'll constantly be making tough choices as your limited supplies and manpower won't be able to cover all grounds. Because of this, you'll be building relationships with some factions while ending up antagonizing others. On the ground, during combat, employ a wide array of strategies to best defeat hostiles while doing your best to keep each and every single unit alive. Utilize flanking maneuvers, suppressing fire, defend against enemy fire with cover, or even use mechs and other vehicles to outright blast hostiles out of their firing positions. The game also features a character-driven experience where each squad leader has their own traits, backgrounds, and personalities that you'll need to know about in order to use them the best way you can and prevent any unnecessary events that they may cause. With a ton of content to play around with, MENACE attempts to be the playground of destruction for tactical turn-based lovers in a sandbox of endless replayability. The project started off as yet another Kickstarter dream and got pledged 5 times their pledge goal. While Kickstarter projects nowadays are sort of mixed bags, I just can't help but be excited to get my hands on an RPG that looks this good. The White Raven is an open-world tactical RPG set in a war-torn land and spiritual hellscapes. You play as Jin, a young spirit whisperer, as you explore the lands of the Aurorian Steppes and uncover its mysteries. Take in an unlikely team of bandits and outcasts while engaging in cerebral tactical combat that lets you take advantage of your surroundings. Your adventure will be dictated by the choices that you make. Choose your own background, whether you want to be a stalwart seeker of truth and protector of the weak, or an evil manipulative mastermind that bends others to your will. However, despite having an innately good or evil background, how the story will unfold and the actions you will take, as well as the ending to your story, has yet to be told. That is it for this video. Are you excited about any of the games on this list? If not, what game should have made it to this list? Make sure to let us know your thoughts down in the comments. And as always, remember to hit like, subscribe if you're new around here, and remember to follow turn-based lovers for everything turn-based. This has been Leaf, and I'll see you guys on the next one.